I have Madam Kulundu, who is a regional election coordinator in Nairobi, and I have another colleague who is in charge of this constituency. Where is she? Okay. She's here, Pamela. I'm also here with other officers, investigation officers from IEBC, Mr. Halake and Mr. Mwangi. Where's Mwangi? Where's Mwangi? Okay, yeah. Then, of course, as you can see, we also have the OCPD?
Yes.
Yeah, of this station. Your name?
Alice Kimeli.
Alice Kimeli. And you also have the DCIO, Dennis Onyango, who have been handling this matter. Now, ladies and gentlemen, last night at about midnight, the Commission received allegations of strangers registering voters in Isli using BVR kits that were purportedly stolen from Mandera East constituency. We followed up the matter with the police, and this morning we received a briefing from the Nairobi police commandant and his team, including the team that I just met here, and we want to provide the following clarifications, or at least report as follows. Number one is that 3 individuals aged between 22 to 28 years were arrested and now in police custody for questioning in relation to the case in point. And during this arrest, the following items were recovered: a photocopying and printing machine, a colored cartridge, several voter transfer forms, 33 of them duly filled, and 83 copies of national identification cards, and 1 original acknowledgement slip, 1 ledger black book, and a notebook filled with names that are over 500. And the black book had names written from different constituencies, indicating that the suspects might have been sourcing individuals for transfer. The transfer applications, from the records we have, were meant for Mandera North constituency. Basically what it means is that the application forms indicate that someone is transferring from one point to Mandera North constituency. One of the things we also need to clarify is that there was no BVR kit found. In other words, there's no evidence that BVR kits were in possession or being used by the suspects. Given this development, the Commission wishes to appreciate the quick intervention taken by the police to have the suspects arrested, and members of the public for being vigilant over this matter. We are also aware that politicians are using all manner of tactics to boost their registration numbers, including voter transfers. It has become a case where leaders are choosing voters and not voters choosing leaders. That is not democracy, and that's not what IEBC is working for. And I believe that many Kenyans do not want to see these cases. So having learned from phase 1 of mass voter registration exercise, this time around, the Commission centralized all the transfer applications at the constituency level. And that decision has helped to manage the pressure of managing transfers that are happening at the registration centers across the country. However, for us to really succeed, we need some high level of public vigilance over the matter. A case like this one is an example that we can use. But the Commission is only going to succeed in ensuring that only eligible voters are being registered, and that people are transferring their electoral areas out of will, but not out of undue influence. So we call upon the public to be vigilant and report any incidents that are happening within their communities in as far as registration is concerned. At this point, we also want to assure the country that the process of registration and transfer of voters is very clear. With regards to registration, the Commission uses BVR kits to capture the fingerprints, image, and other details of the applicants during application process. At the end of the day, the information is transferred in an encrypted format into a flash disk that can only be decrypted or be read once the flash disk is received at our regional servers or at the headquarters in Nairobi. The BVR kits are not used during the transfer applications. What happens during the transfer applications is that individuals just fill the forms, but the process of entering that data in the system happens much later. Now, I want to also clarify on other issues on behalf of the Commission. The Commission wishes to encourage all eligible Kenyans to register as voters, as we only have 3 days remaining. And in doing so, please remember that all persons who have never registered as voters from November 19th up to now and are eligible to register to do so by presenting valid documents and themselves to the registration officers. Waiting cards cannot be used to register voters. The only documents that are valid is either the national identification card or a valid passport. The legal provision that allowed waiting cards to be used for registration was actually expunged following the Election Laws Amendment Act of 2017. And those who had registered using passports in 2012 and their passports have since expired, we just want to remind you that you need to visit our registration centers to update the details of your registration. That means you must change the details of the identification document you used. This is because expired passports will not be used during voting. On our part as a Commission, we have deployed over 25,000 personnel across the country who are waiting to serve all eligible Kenyans. We have also deployed over 8,000 kits and opened universities and colleges and Huduma centers to ensure that as much as possible eligible Kenyans are registered as voters. So ladies and gentlemen, that is what we wanted to share with you. There's no cause for alarm. The investigations on the matter at hand are ongoing, and we hope that necessary action is going to be taken, and hopefully as soon as tomorrow, with the evidence that we have, those suspects must be arraigned in court. Thank you very much.
Two questions. Are you able then to account for all the BVR kits that were deployed to the northeastern region following the allegations that were made yesterday? And number two, there have been requests, calls for maybe a slight extension to cater for the people who have waiting cards and have not yet acquired the original identity card following the application process. Is that something that IEBC is considering, bearing in mind that voter registration is a continuous process?
With your first question, we can assure you that we are able to account for the BVR kits that we have in every region across the country. For the ones that got lost during the Arabia attack, we've not been able to trace them, and to ensure that voters in that particular region are actually enabled to register, we're able to deploy other kits to be able to serve that purpose. For your second question, the Commission is on record that we do not intend to extend registration beyond 14th of February. So you only have 3 days, and we want you to ensure that you take this as the only opportunity for you to be able to register. There will be no extension as far as the Commission is concerned this far. What's your name, sir? I've just responded to that. The claim of lost BVR, this is in relation to the Arabia ward in Mandera East constituency, and that was last week. Yeah, so there were 3 BVR kits that we lost during that particular incident, and we replaced them for the registration to continue. There's no way that a stranger can use those BVR kits to register voters, and there's no way that that data can get into our system through any other means that other than the known protocol that we've established. Yeah.
Just from me, please.
Okay. Are you a journalist?
My name is
Okay, first of all, I'm dealing with the media. Okay. So feel that, okay.
I'm Rajab Abdul Kadir, Radio TFX. There is allegations that a lock was recovered yesterday concerning this issue that you have just addressed right now, and the lock is suspected to have to be for a BVR machine. Have you been briefed about the same? And if not, there are some pictures that were on social media of the same.
One of the things I can tell you that I've worked with the police here, and Madam is here, can also explain the evidence that we have so far relates to the a number of items that were actually obtained during the raid, and these are photocopying and printing machines, colored cartridges, voter transfer forms, that 3 of them having been duly filled, 83 copies of national identification cards, 1 original acknowledgement slip, and 1 ledger book and notebook filled with names of individuals. From the list, as you can see, there is no evidence of any BVR-related item. And as we've also said, that investigations are continuing. I've seen the images being posted, and I was telling Francis Gashuri this morning, out of the pictures that he sent me, there was none that indicated a BVR machine. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
That is, of course, the IEBC CEO Ezra Chiloba talking about the earlier incidents, saying that they recovered photocopy machines, photo transfer forms, that have been filled, a notebook with about 500 names, but insisting that there was no BVR kit. And like we told you earlier, Francis Gashuri will be keeping on our story, and any other developments will be reported a little bit later on in our subsequent bulletins. But still keeping with the voter registration, with only 3 days to the end of the ongoing voter registration exercise, section of political leaders are now